All right, how would you do in a fight?
It's tough. I'll say this. If I don't get knocked out, which is highly possible, I don't think I could take a punch.
Just keep a distance. Keep a distance.
But I think if I don't get knocked out, my stamina will kick in. And I can definitely outlast most people. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the thing I tell my son about fighting is that people, the first time they get hit in the face, it's like you remember that, right? It's like there's some comedian joke about that where first time you get hit in the face, you remember it because it's like.
Yeah,
it's like
I think it may be me, but I'm talking about the throat though, so I don't know if that. Anyway,
it could be similar, but it's like it's a lot of people. What ends up happening is they get hit in the face, and then they stop fighting because it's like it's so shocking to them that
really. Because my experience was that I got hit in the face, and I was like, "This wasn't that bad. I'm in."
So you're a real fighter, but
it kind of woke you up. Yeah.
It woke me up. I mean, I didn't want to fight because the other person was a drunk male. Yeah. So I'm smarter than that.
But I've gotten in so many fights, and that's what like you could just see in their eyes.
Really,
like the first time you punch them in the face, they're just like, they can't go on.
But it's weird. I've been punched in the face many times, but I just don't enjoy it.
But imagine if you got punched. You've never gotten punched in the face.
Right.
And that
be
first
crazy.
time, and then you're just like, oh, like, and then,
but what I'm saying is, each time is like the first time for me.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean.
It's only happened once, so I don't have any other times to refer to.
I've been in fights where I'm punching someone and they're punching me blow for blow in face or wherever we could hit. This is when I was a kid, and then I could feel like the ratio was 1, 1, 1. Then it was like he's getting 2 for my every 1. He's getting 3 for my every 1. This is not going well.
No.
I was a bully as a kid, so I got in a lot of fights.
Right.
But I threw the first punch because I was small.
Right. I got into a lot of fights, so I wasn't. I don't think I was a bully.
So that was your strategy, though. You're like, I'm going to stun them and then get out of the situation.
Well, because if I didn't throw the first punch, it was going to be tough.
You say you were small.
Yeah.
I will say this: we talk about Napoleon complex, right? But what we don't talk about is that I've seen short people get picked on more too. It's not from nothing. Some people, they're short, they're self-conscious, but it's because they were picked on as well. Like I have my old roommate. He was tough dude, kind of stocky, but like 5'6", right? 5'6", 5'7". People would do things to him that they wouldn't do to me. Except the thing is, I'm like, he's gonna kill you though, because he's been training for this his whole life.
And he's got like the anger of 30 years of life.
Exactly. If you asked me this, how would I do in a fight 10 years ago, I would be like, I would win. I was a little dumb, but now it's like, I know I have limitations, and to the point where I almost want to get into a fight because I think another 10 or 15 years, I'm not sure who, right now, take away all professional fighters. I like my chances against of any age,
like an engineer or something.
Yeah, just any dude. They could be 10 years younger than me, 20 years younger than me.
Look, if you're an operations analyst and you want to get in a fight with Dwayne Perkins,
right.
Exactly.
Exactly. If you do project management, come see me. But I like my chances. But I don't like my chances 20 years from now.
Yeah, but so many people do jujitsu.
But you know what though? That is true.
Yeah. But
that can go wrong too, because I have a buddy, Tarun. Shout out Tarun. I owe you a call too. I'm saying his name wrong, but that's how I say it. It's really like Dharan. He's an Indian dude. He was going to a boxing gym like a lot. So he got into it with a guy at the Westwood Brewing Company. It used to be a comedy place. I'm not sure if you ever did that place. He was like, I'm going to fight this guy. Oh. And I was like, and Tarun's in shape and he boxes. And then someone whispered to me, oh, that guy's a Marine. I was like, Tarun, I understand you box. You pay a guy to put his hands up and go left, right. And I'm sure that translates.
That man has been trained by the colonizers of the world to kill.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's one of the reasons jiu-jitsu is more useful than a lot of martial arts, because when we spar, there's no rules.
Wow.
So like one of the reasons why most martial arts don't work is that when you're fighting, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna kick you.
Right.
You're gonna kick me back,
right.
And it's like we call it dancing. We make fun of it. We call it dancing. It's like, when in a real fight do they dance?
And in fact, the Japanese capoeira is dancing. It became breakdancing.
Brazilian.
What did I say?
Japanese.
I meant to say Brazilian. I'm sorry.
But
even though a lot of Japanese people in Brazil, but the Brazilian, it's dancing. I mean, they kind of call it a martial art, but it's literally dancing.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu itself is that like the only thing we can't do is punch and kick in the sparring.
Right.
But you know, my friends are always like, you can't punch and kick. But I was like, check this out. In a fight, when I bring you down to the ground and I'm sitting on top of you, I can punch now.
right.
And there's zero chance that you're getting up from under me. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to stay as far away from you as possible if you throw a punch. And I'm going to get you down. and there's nothing you could do about
Right.
it.
Which, in a way, this is going to lead to our topic. It doesn't have to directly lead to it, but my pet peeve with action movies, and there's a way of doing it. I'm not a director at all. I've directed little shorts, but I swear I could do a better job than half the movie directors because the fight scenes go for too long. Especially if it's like the first one or two scenes. It's like, listen, either shock me and kill the lead, or let them fight for a few minutes. We get it. He kicks ass. But you're watching like a 10-minute fight scene, and it's the first fight. And you're like, this is ridiculous. Like, I've literally checked out of a fight scene. You shouldn't check out of a fight.
If there's too much suspense, it's just like stressful to watch. I will fast forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
I'd be like, who won? Okay.
Right. And that's because we're comics and they don't understand timing and they think they do. We stand in front of people and tell them stories.
You feel when people check out.
You know when they
it's
check
visceral.
out. Exactly. So you know I have to give them something, either heighten the story or give them a joke. And I think a lot of directors, they're into the visuals, they're into everything. They don't have a sense of the people watching when they're like, we're done with this. You know what I mean?
This is a great place to plug my movie Ruthless, which is currently on Hulu. So
Nice.
please watch it.
Watch
It's
it.
an action movie. It has Dermot Mulroney.
The guy from My Best Friend's
My Best
Wedding,
Friend's
you
Wedding.
guys.
Yeah.
He's great. You know, he looks like Wolverine in this picture.
He
Yeah, he does.
That's what I thought it was.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah,
like
no,
Hugh
it's not.
Jackman.
You know what's
without a
crazy?
beard.
Black people, we mix up white people all the time. And we don't get in trouble for it or anything. But when they do it, it's like, oh, you racist. We do it all the time.
I mix up everybody. It's terrible.
I mean, I think it's just what you're used to saying. Yeah, the movie's pretty good. It's on Hulu right now. And then by the time this comes out, actually, I should mention also that my TV show on Hulu, I wrote episodes 5, 6, and 7 on a show called, it's a Japanese show called House of the Owls out as well. And
Very nice. It's like Koji's the guest.
Yes.
Because you have a lot to
I
plug.
think
That's
the plug,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing Bruce Lee understood. He understood that, like, you watch a Bruce Lee movie today, even though they're from the 70s, the timing still works. The way he built the tension. And when you fast forward, it's just they're trying to milk it. I have a new joke I'm working on, then we can move on, about, like, whenever there's a scene where they're, like, diffusing a bomb, you know, a ticking clock. I'm like, listen, you don't always have to, like, disable the bomb with 1 second left. I'm not going to think less of you if there's, like, 12 seconds left. And you're like, oh, cut the wire, we're good. You know what I mean? It's that kind of...
Or it explodes.
Or it explodes, right.
Yeah.
But it's just, it becomes dishonest kind of storytelling because everyone feels there's a natural end to this thing. And then you try to make it go longer than that.
Also, it's so predictable. Like, we
Yes.
get it. Every time there's a bomb,
Right.
we will diffuse it right at 1 second. It's not, like, we're over it.
Let me just say this about Bruce Lee. His martial art, when he actually fought on these rooftops in Hong Kong, one of the reasons he was sent to the United States by his parents because they thought he was going to be a thug.
Right.
So his martial art was not like a gym martial art, which is just like you're just dancing. But his martial art was actually fighting every night for, you know, like not your life, but like to get your ass kicked.
Right,
And so his
right.
martial art, like the way he used his martial art was actually useful in that he's actually testing the thing. So anything that wasn't working, he wouldn't use, obviously. And things that were working, he used. And so he was actually really fighting. So the problem with most of the martial arts is that you're not actually using it. And if you don't use it, how do you know it works? And how do you adjust it? What do you, like, you know, and that's the problem with most martial arts. That's why jiu-jitsu is, in my opinion, the best, because we're actually like using things that, you know, like you start to use it in actually like in any kind of fight. So if I fight somebody who knows jiu-jitsu, that's a different kind of fight than somebody who doesn't.
Right.
Like it's just a different kind of fight. Like if somebody who knows jiu-jitsu, then I have to like, he's going to anticipate my moves and I'll anticipate his. But if it's somebody who doesn't use jiu-jitsu, he'll just do something unusual, but he won't know anything I'm about to do to him.
Right.
And so
is that why it seems I've been told that when MMA first started, remember, like they didn't have weight classes, there was anyone fighting anyone, and a lot of the karate guys got destroyed.
the base of MMA is jiu-jitsu. Like
Right,
every MMA guy has to know jiu-jitsu as a base, and then they go out from there. They learn boxing, they
Wrestling
learn
and-
wrestling, or no, wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Are
I
similar.
see.
So like that's the reason, because the jiu-jitsu guys, when they first got out there, they just beat everybody, because like once you got on the ground, it was over, because they would just like crush you. Like the problem with wrestling is that it's once you're on your back, it's a weak position. But in jiu-jitsu, on your back is not a weak position. You can still can still win from a bat. From the
You hear that, ladies? It's not a weak position. I'm sorry.
Welcome. This is season 4, episode number 2 of the award-winning Unofficial Official Story. I'm Cat.
I'm Dwayne.
And I am Koji.
And this is where we tell you the official story. We look at the paranormal, conspiracies, unexplained phenomena, cryptids, and true crime. And by the end, we'll tell you what really, maybe, happened.
If you like the podcast, please be sure to share it with your friends, family, and even your enemies. You'll be doing a lot to help us keep bringing exciting, fun content every month.
In May, we celebrate Asian Pacific Heritage Month, and we're asking the very important question, was Bruce Lee killed by the secret touch of death? This month, we don't have a guest, so it's just us three, so that's exciting. Do you guys have anything you wanted to plug?
Well, I just want to say I'll be watching Ruthless on Hulu, and I'll be watching the
House of the
House
Owl?
of the Owl,
House of the Owl,
on Hulu. No, is that on Hulu?
That's on Hulu, too.
And this Ruthless is on, they're both on Hulu. Nice.
And I think by the time this episode comes out, my movie Damaged with Samuel Jackson
You're crushing
will be
it.
coming out. Vincent Cassel is in that movie.
Killing it.
So that should be coming out somewhere. I mean, it's already out on theaters.
Sam
and
Jackson,
stuff.
that's
Sam
a real
Jackson, yeah.
thespian. You too, Dermot Mulroney. You too.
Do it. As far as plugging stuff goes, I've got my Instagram and my podcast is back, Villains of History.
Where can they listen to it? What is it about?
It is all the bad guys from history. It's a little bit like Behind the Bastards, but hopefully funnier. I try to make it funny.
What I love
Yeah.
about that is, maybe you've talked about this, in sports, when you do something great or of note, they retire your number. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if they retire your name, you did some really bad shit. You know what I mean? Like Adolf. Genghis. Like, if we don't use the name anymore, it's like you really.
Those are the kinds of people we're going to have on the podcast.
Right.
Through a seance. They're going to be as guests. No, just kidding. No, but we will talk about them. First
Very nice.
episode was Elliot Rodger of the Santa Barbara shooting.
He's the king of the incels.
Yeah, he is the king of the incels.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
They still
right?
call him the king.
Ugh.
And
They
as
said
we
it.
tape this,
Cringe.
there was that Bondi thing in Bondi, I guess you call it, Bondi Beach in Australia and Sydney. This guy went around in the mall stabbing people.
Yeah.
They showed a picture of him. He didn't look like a type of guy that, what does that type of guy look like? But he, I'm interested in finding out more about this guy.
It's ideological. Everybody's like, oh, it's mental illness.
He was autistic, though, too.
He was, but there's a lot of autistic people out there
Yeah, he was
who are
an incel.
not.
He looked like he could get girls.
No,
But I know
that's his
it's not
personality.
about that.
It's his personality.
Yeah, radicalization is a powerful thing. Let's get this story straight once and for all.
Yeah, let's do it.
Word.
Just in case you've lived under a rock for the past century, here's a quick bio on Bruce Lee. Bruce was born on December 27, 1940, and passed away on July 20th, 1973. He was born in Hong Kong and moved to San Francisco. He later moved back to Hong Kong to act. He is best known as martial arts master and instructor, a cultural icon, but he's also a film writer, producer, and director. As an Asian American myself, Bruce Lee is and was one of the baddest Asians of all time, and someone I still look up to today.
To help us prepare for this episode, we all watched a YouTube video by CoffeeZilla who tested out the death touch, allegedly by the guy who killed Bruce Lee. We think all of you should watch it. We'll put a link in the show notes. Now, will you guys be seeking out the death touch master?
No. Well, because it's like, short of believing it, I wouldn't want to know how to do it. Anyways, same reason I don't.
But maybe
I don't
you
have a
would want to
gun.
know how to do it so you don't accidentally do it.
I know, but it's like you can't accidentally open up a child's-proof jar of Tylenol. You have to. You have to press and twist. You know what I mean? So
It's like, have you guys seen those chi masters who they're like fake martial artists and they like pretend to move you with their chi energy, and then the people fall over. And when I watched it, I'm always wondering, like, do the people who are watching this really believe it? They must, right?
I think it's like hypnosis.
They start to
honestly.
just buy it, right?
Yeah, they buy it. They believe it. Have you guys ever been hypnotized?
Yeah.
yeah, but I feel like I was not really hypnotized.
They made my arm move.
Get out.
Yeah, my arm was like on the it was on the sofa, and then without me telling it, my arm just went and touched my head. It was the freakiest shit.
I think
I've
some people
ever
are more
had.
sensitive to it too, but these people are like, they're like the
Me.
masters. I mean, there was like a fight in China where like one of these chi masters was fighting like an MMA guy, and it was just like he just got destroyed because it's like obviously you can't, like, it's not working.
Right.
It reminds me of that South Park episode where they're like, like they're a bunch of like sci-fi people
Right.
who are good times.
I've always wanted to do the Tai Chi. I don't know if that's similar.
No, that's different.
Because it looks like, I'm like, do you have to flex while you're doing it? Because I don't. it's movement, but I can't.
If you're old, it's
Yeah, it
good.
doesn't seem strenuous at all. Even
Honestly, Touchmaster sounds like a sex toy. The Death Touchmaster
true.
is their Halloween edition.
right. That's like when you put the D batteries in it or something. Whatever.
That's what your aunt uses.
Exactly.
Your aunt who isn't married, and you find it, and you're like, "What is this?"
Right.
In the corner of the house.
Yeah, the one aunt who's kind of cool. She uses that.
You're like, "Is that a vacuum cleaner?"
Like, please,
no, it's
someone
not a vacuum
get her
cleaner.
the Deathmaster so she can calm down. Bruce's death is officially listed as excess fluid causing his brain to swell, aka cerebral edema. How do you say
Edema.
that? Edema, of course, right. Cerebral edema. But many do not believe that. Just like a lot of other celebrities who passed away before their time, there are countless internet rumors about how they really died. Here are some that we found. For Bruce, a jealous lover poisoned him. It was a fatal drug overdose. The Triads assassinated him. I had a run-in with the Triads once.
Yeah, where?
In Macau. But I was told they were Korean Triads, which I didn't even know was a thing. But it was at a show. These guys were making a bunch of noise. And like they were pretending like they didn't speak English too. And they were at the show, just big casino. They could go anywhere. And they were just in the showroom, just causing a ruckus. And I said something, just a jokey thing. But then like the guy came on stage.
All of a sudden, it turned into Kill Bill.
Yeah, he came on stage to take the mic out of my hand. Security got him. They escorted him out, but they didn't kick him out, just out of the showroom. So then, while I'm finishing my set, I can see he's just outside of the showroom, sort of waiting for me.
Don't mess with Asians. That's
Yeah.
That's the lesson here.
It worked out okay. I mean,
You gave him a blow. And
right. A handy. Yeah. Which came in handy, but yeah, it was a little scary.
I remember, I'd work with all these people that were in rap, right? And so because they're all in rap, a lot of them were gang related. And I'd try to explain to them, my friends who were gang members. Mm-hmm. And it was always funny because I was like, the difference between your friends who are gang members and my friends is that my friends are richer than you'll ever be, even with all your money now. And they're gangbanging because they're just fucking crazy. And they're dealing drugs, they're doing like women and running stuff. And like these people have like so much money that they never have to work again. Or before they did this. And I was like, that's just something up here.
They're
in your
just
head.
psychopaths.
Yeah. Whereas like a lot of what like happens on the streets in other parts of the city are like you just don't have enough money and then it becomes something bigger.
It's like
and more-
necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On some level in the beginning at least. But like I was
Right.
like, no, these guys like their house is bigger than my house will ever be.
Right.
Now at 16.
Oh, dang.
And it's like most communities actually can thrive from having some form of mafia because they extort, but they also keep peace.
Yeah, I was talking to an Uber driver I had once on the way to the airport. I don't know how we started talking, but he's like, yeah, I'm a former gang member. He was a former Crip, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, like how come LA is a lot more calm now? Like what's
They
the
get
deal
along,
with that?
yeah.
And he said, yeah, it's because everybody kind of grew up, got more established, realized they can make more money if everything's more peaceful, and they just like keep their business going because it's a business at the end of the day. So LA kind of calmed down, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of trade. Like the economy is there, but they're just not doing all the crazy shit. But he said that crazy shit still happens in places like Chicago because they're younger, and so they're still like kind of battling for territory.
Like not the OGs.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just ego and pride. It's not
Yeah,
about the
but it's still
money.
not. It's still
Yeah.
not as crazy as like 80. I mean, the 80s there'd be
No.
like 24 deaths in a weekend.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was crazy. New York was crazy too, but not as bad as here.
There's also the crack epidemic. And I actually just read today that like cocaine and crack will give people actual psychosis. Like something like 30% of homicides have cocaine or crack involved.
Yeah, because if you do crack, you never come back. That's the rule. Right?
Word. It's also whack. So some other theories, now that we went on that triad
Tangent.
a greedy business partner killed him so they could control his movies.
see it.
And there was a curse on his family.
That one. But these are not the theories we're looking at today. Today, we're going to explore the idea that the touch of death killed Bruce Lee. The rumor began way back in 1985 in Black Belt magazine. It was claimed in an article that this death was caused by a delayed reaction to a dim Mach strike he received several weeks before his collapse.
The dim mak strike is a technique where one attacks the pressure points. Some believe the dim mak is a secret specialty within Wing Chun Kung Fu.
That sounds delicious.
According to Wikipedia, others claim it was a quivering palm technique.
Right. It's a little bit Kill Bill-ish, right?
Yeah.
Why would this person want to kill Bruce Lee? A cabal of Kung Fu masters were mad at Bruce for teaching non-Chinese, ancient Chinese techniques. Even his friend and actor Chuck Norris had to step in and address the rumors. Chuck said, "The fact is, we are too bad to be his students, and he is too good to be our teacher." So he kind of like said he's not teaching us. Yeah. But we know he had a school, though.
Yeah,
right?
he was teaching here in Los Angeles, and I think San Francisco.
San Fran,
maybe.
yeah.
He's probably teaching like watered down version, like the way we learn watered down yoga.
Kung Fu it's so weird because it's over and over and over in fights. It's always lost. There's these videos in China where, there's all these like schools of martial arts that have been like passed down for centuries. And there's this one dude who like he does MMA in China, and he just goes around and fights all these masters and kicks the crap out of them.
Wow.
And then but then the Chinese government's like, you can't disrespect our culture by beating up these masters. We're going to say you lost, even though like you could see like the guy's like bloody on the ground.
Can you imagine being on the ground and they lift your arm up and still undefeated?
But it's crazy because like a lot of these, a lot of it's like it's just not tested anymore.
It sounds like to me too, like at one point it was for fighting. And then it's almost similar to what we said about the gangs. Then it morphed into more of an art form, but they still think it's good for fighting. Meanwhile, these real fighting things are tried and true. But because at the end of the day, it's not about fighting; it's the discipline you gain from doing.
Sure, I mean, it's even like my nephew. He did taekwondo. He got a black belt by 9 or 8 or something. And then he came over and wanted to fight my son because he knows my son does jiu-jitsu and other things. This is kind of not good.
Because your son is also pretty strong.
He does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And so he brought him down and sat on top of him. He's like, "What do you guys do?" I was just like, "Just sit on top of him and wait for him to calm down." but it gives these kids and people a sense of like that they could go out there and fight. But the problem is that they actually don't know how to fight. They just got to like in jiu-jitsu, for example, you can't get a black belt till you're 25 because they believe that no kid is an expert at it anyway.
Right.
And the way kids are is like they will do things, especially young men will like get themselves killed.
And if you haven't, like I never boxed, but I went to a boxing gym. And one time, me and my
You did
buddy,
Taibo, right?
No, we fought. They put the gloves on us. We were like in 3rd or 4th grade, and we did a round or two, and it was exhausting. No training. We just got in there and just beat the shit out of each other. And then like I remember like sticking my hands out to take the gloves off. And just thinking to myself, I'm never putting these back on again. Just never. It's never going to happen. And I regret that. I don't know. I don't think I'm the most athletic. But at the end of the day, though, I just can't unless I could be Floyd Mayweather. But even Floyd Mayweather gets punched in the face. The most defensive fighter ever gets punched in the face. I'm trying to not get punched in the face. That's how I live my life. Very anti-punch in the face. So I say that to say, like, had I kept boxing, though, the respect would have been there because you know how exhausting it is. So a 9-year-old can't get a black belt simply because they don't have the demeanor yet to let's say they were these sort of 9-year-old killing machines. Even if that were true, they don't have the disposition to control it like a gentleman.
Yeah, because even like in jiu-jitsu, like so technically after a white belt, the next belt's a blue belt, but you can't be a blue belt till you're 16. And so for a long time in jiu-jitsu, the problem with the kids was that they were just a white belt. And then all the parents and the kids were like, we're just staying a white belt forever until 16. And so then they created all these fake belts between white and blue.
Right.
Because just to like make it so that the kids are progressing somewhere. But
you have a striped belt. This one is zigzag.
But then technically the only belt that's important is the next one, which is blue. When they turn 16, they can become a blue belt. Right. But it's good for the kids because it shows like you're still nothing till
show work. Them the reality of
you
life.
Have to get better. You have to get better.
You're worthless. All right, but what does ChatGPT think? ChatGPT, was Bruce Lee killed by the death touch?
No, Bruce Lee was not killed by the death touch or any mystical martial arts technique. Bruce Lee, the iconic martial artist, actor, and filmmaker, died on July 20th, 1973. At the age of 32, the exact cause of his death was a cerebral edema, swelling of the brain, which was attributed to a reaction to a pain medication he had taken for a headache. There is no evidence to suggest that he was killed by any kind of supernatural or mythical martial arts technique like the death touch.
Not fun. ChatGPT, write a 100-word story about Koji killing Bruce Lee.
I'm sorry, I can't fulfill that request.
We'll ask Google's AI, Gemini, write a 100-word story about Koji, me, killing Bruce Lee.
Absolutely not. Andrew Koji never met Bruce Lee, and Lee tragically died in 1973. Here's a different story for you. In the San Francisco fog, Sam, Andrew Koji, parried blows with a rival Tong master. Their movements mirrored each other, a dance honed by years of training. Suddenly, Sam unleashed a flurry inspired by Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, a style Lee himself was still developing. Confused, the master faltered. Sam disarmed him, a silent nod to the legend who paved the way.
They thought it was funny. They thought it was Andrew Koji, by the way.
All right, well, it's time to put on our thinking caps. Was Bruce Lee killed by the secret touch of death? When we return, we'll settle this once and for all and figure out what really maybe happened. Now that we've reviewed the evidence, let's give our theories. How did Bruce Lee really die?
I guess I'll go. I feel with this, like, I saw a video of Jackie Chan being asked about it, and he seemed to really, like, kind of not want to talk about it. Like, because the theory was, like, some gang had taken him out, and I guess maybe Jackie Chan has an affiliation to this gang. It seems suspicious. And so I think, if I'm being literal, I think maybe it was an accident, or maybe somebody out there knows what happened. But so much time has passed that you would think there'd be some deathbed confessions at this point. You know, I am...
No, there is. One guy said that he,
is that right?
He killed him with a death match. I mean, he's trying to sell the death touch. He's trying to sell it online.
Who's the guy? I'm forgetting Cooper, who everyone says that.
Oh, DB Cooper.
DB Cooper.
Remember we had the episode about it.
No, I'm saying that, like there would be some DB Cooper sort of confessions. So short of that, and it's really, I feel like somebody knows something. Now, here's what I think. Is the family cursed? Maybe, because his son died too, so that's kind of weird. But I think in Bruce Lee's case, I have two theories I'm working on, but I like this one. I think that what happened was he reached a nirvana state. Mm-hmm. And not nirvana exactly in the Buddhist way of thinking, but similar.
Like
where
Kurt Cobain?
Yeah, like, right. He smelled like Teen Spirit. And then, no, he reached a state where he had done what he needed to do. And I think similarly, this happened to, say, like a Tupac or a James Dean, where it's like, you've peaked and the universe is like, your job is done here. And so ultimately, what killed him? Excellence.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like he had ran his race, he had nothing left to do. And I think the universe kind of like, with Elvis and with Michael Jackson, the universe was like, ooh, we kind of let this go on a little too long. You know what I mean? It came in and then got them.
Oh, yeah. Take him out while he's still a hero before the hero becomes a villain, which could be maybe why he got assassinated, if he got assassinated.
Yeah.
If maybe he did have some crazy shit going on that would have made him less of a hero. So someone took him out early.
It could be that. It could be that. I just think literally he had ascended, like, the fact that he did 5 movies and we're talking about him still, like his business partners, they would have milked him for all the movies they could have.
Yeah, it wouldn't kill him. It doesn't make any sense.
This is like saying like Puff Daddy killed Biggie. He may have let some people kill him for payback. He wouldn't kill his cash cow.
Britney Spears, they didn't kill Britney. They kept her. They did the guardianship, and they just kept on like milking her for
you don't kill your cash
performances.
cow, right?
Yeah.
So I just think like some people reach this state of excellence. And you would think, okay, why? How about Tom Brady? How about other people? You would think maybe even Tiger Woods. They
Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin.
Hachimura.
Yeah. Jeremy Lin for sure. Even you could say Shohei, right? They reached this point. I think maybe they came close, or maybe not everyone's taken away, but I do think some people reach this point of like, to do any more, we were talking about timing when this thing started, to do any more would be overkill. You've ran your race. So I think that happened to him. I think, I don't know, whoever, God or whoever you believe, what the universe said it's time to go. His family could still be cursed, but that's not why he was taken away.
So let me first say that Bruce Lee was super important to Asian Americans. You know, what a lot of Asian Americans today don't realize is back then, Asian Americans were shit on, especially dudes. We were like the lowest of the low. Like, actually, funny story, we were at a Not Scary farm, and I was behind these 3 Latina girls, and they were like staring at like K-pop stars on their Instagram, and they're talking about how hot they were.
Aww.
And I was like, I mean, they're like teeny poppers, but I was like, this would never have happened when I was a kid. Like, Asian guys were seen as like like people you would never want to go, like small dick, whatever, right? Like that's what we were. And so like Bruce Lee was the coolest Asian American or Asian person out there who could kick your shit out of you. So he wasn't just like good looking, but he was like a badass. And so when I think of Bruce Lee, I think of like somebody that like meant a lot to me when there was nobody else even close to him out there. You know, I mean, like think about Gung Ho, right? The movie about like all these little Asians coming to America and doing shit, or Breakfast at Tiffany's, those kinds of things. Like that's what I'm thinking of when you think of popular culture.
Well, we also look at in the episode I just did on Elliot Rodger, one of the things they talked about, I remember reading about, well, he's half Asian, and that was one of the reasons he kind of hated himself, because he felt effeminate because of the sentiment, because of the...
And think of like Andy, I think it was Andy Rooney, used to put the glasses on and do the teeth thing.
And do the eye thing.
It's pretty messed up.
Yeah. When you listen to Bruce Lee's interviews, he talks about Asian Americans. He talks about a lot of the issues that are still relevant to Asian Americans. So I definitely encourage people to listen to his interviews. But regardless, so my thing is I was actually listening to an old episode of ours, and it was from season 2, where I said Tupac was Japanese. To do honor to that episode and just to make things right in the world, my theory is that actually Bruce Lee is African American.
Oh, wow.
And it was about to come out that he was actually African American,
But like mix or something.
No, just straight black.
Right. And by the way, it's Mickey Rooney, I meant to say, but go ahead.
Right.
Yes.
Like it was about to come out, and it was going to be this big like
so funny.
It's going to be this big like controversy because they already don't like like non-Chinese people doing it.
Right.
And so he's like, I just got to fake my death, and so he came up with this thing, and
he faked it.
He faked it, yeah.
Interesting.
And then he just went back
that.
He just came back to LA and just lived the rest of his life just
as a guy,
as just a regular guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever people say the fake death thing, because you can't fake your death and still get the money, right? So your family or your estate can get the money, and maybe they can find a way to, funnel that money to you. But I always think of a person top of the world faking a death, and then flash it 20 years later, and they're like, "Shit, I'm out of money."
But he teaches martial arts in like South LA now,
right? And he's like, when I knew Bruce Lee.
So that's my theory, basically.
So he faked his death because he actually was black.
Well, the truth was going to come out.
Interesting.
And he didn't want the truth because he thought it was going to like bring shame to him. And
but also then the black community would have been like, he had a perm this whole time. That's some bullshit.
Well, and a side theory is that's why Wu-Tang named themselves Wu-Tang, because they knew the secret.
Interesting.
Actually, funny story in Wu-Tang is that they used to ditch school and then go watch these Chinese martial arts movies. And then through the martial arts movies, they like learned lessons on life. Like that was their school.
Right.
I mean, that's why if you think of Wu-Tang, they're like the first rap group to create their own label. They were signed to one label.
Each one was signed to a different
and then
label.
So they were making they were smart with their money. And then they kept the money within. So anyway, but so that was all Bruce Lee. But
Smart. Okay, time for my theory?
Yes, time for your theory.
All right. So I did a little bit of research to figure out why he really died. It said he had cerebral edema. There are a number of things that can cause cerebral edema. Traumatic brain injury, so that would be like he got hit in the head, like kicked in the head or something during a fight, and that could. Other eclampsia, encephalitis, I don't really know what those are. Hemorrhagic stroke, he could have had a stroke. Meningitis, which can be caused by a virus.
Usually
or
happens
a bug bite.
when you're younger, right? Like a teenage.
I don't know.
My dad had meningitis when he was like 50, so it could happen. And also just a bug bite could cause cerebral edema. That's what West Nile virus was doing to people. So those are all possibilities, but the one that stood out to me, and this is my theory, was something called diabetic ketoacidosis. It happens
when you don't have enough fat.
When your body has a hard time like with the energy. Let me just read it. Nope, not this one. Okay. Diabetes-related ketoacidosis is when your body doesn't have enough insulin and needs to convert it to insulin, and it can't, so it starts breaking down fat for energy instead. When fat is broken down, it produces ketones. But if there are too many ketones in your blood, it becomes acidic, and that causes a medical emergency. So, my theory is that Bruce Lee was one of the first guys to do keto so he could look hot on camera.
I see.
And it caused his brain to swell up, and he died. That, and also drinking too much water can cause you
Right.
to have hyponatremia and your brain swells up. So
He was super cut.
Yeah, you
So-
can. Yeah, there's a lady who ran a marathon and died from drinking too much water. I think because what I like about your theory is that he was super cut, and if he didn't eat sugar, and then his body had to use fat, which is why people get into keto. What happens if there's no fat to pull from?
Yep.
Does it then pull from muscle? I guess your body can get energy from sugar, direct sugar, muscle, or fat, I think. But then that leads to
people
my
will
theory
do all
that
these
he was
crazy
he was too
diets.
excellent.
Yeah, he's too excellent. Also, if you're combining diets, let's say he's doing intermittent fasting and he's doing keto and he's over drinking water and he has zero body fat to begin with, he had way too many ketones and that caused him to die. That's my
Right.
theory.
They say two things. They say it's always darkest before the storm, or is that right? Brightest before the storm? Calmest before the storm. It's always calmest before the storm. That's how it goes.
That took a long time to get there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. But also something about certain machines run their best before they give out. Say you have an older car and then like one day it's like, oh, this thing is running good today. It's going to crash out
It's
the
kind
next
of like
day.
in a movie when the character that you love is like being at their best lovable self and then the next scene they die.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Basically that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even in that's a metaphor for like, this is the best they're going to be. Let's take them before they revert back to being an a-hole again or whatever.
Wow.
All right.
okay.
So at this point, we vote. It's time for us to pick the unofficial official story, the one that will answer this question once and for all. So which do we go with?
He's a black man. Come on.
Well, I love the faking the death thing because that means he lived. And then the question will be, is he still alive or has he died
You're
since?
burying the most important part of the faking the death part.
Yeah, but
You can't pick and choose, dude.
right.
He's a black man. He's a strong black man. I'm just not disrespectful of black man.
I mean, people in the hood love Bruce Lee.
yeah,
you know.
that's what I mean. That's why they love him
Yeah.
because he's actually black.
First time I went to Hong Kong, I met this black dude on a train. You know, you're in Hong Kong. This was like 99. And we strike up a conversation. They say, come hang with us tonight. So I hang with them at a bar.
He was Bruce Lee.
No, but what happened was he's an English dude. Shout out to him. Ewing was his last name. I want to say his first name was maybe
Julius?
Gary, maybe. English black dude. So he knows people in Hong Kong. A fight breaks out, and then he breaks it up. Two Chinese guys are fighting each other. Well, Cantonese guys are fighting each other. And he jumps in, fluid Cantonese. I didn't know he spoke it. And he's telling them to chill out in Cantonese and relax. And I'm just like, what the hell? You speak Chinese? And he was a big Bruce Lee fan.
Yeah.
And that, like,
maybe he was Bruce Lee.
so much, in fact, that he moved to Hong Kong, learned how to speak Chinese. Like, I mean, this guy.
That's a fan.
Yeah. Or Cantonese, or, you know, that version of Chinese. So I know it's tough. I like yours too, but yours is sort of like basically
It could have happened.
Cat's. Yeah, yours could have happened. Basically, his body, he had too many ketones, is what
Yeah.
you're saying, right? Even though ketones would be a great name for a band. Like,
Right.
give it up for
The Mighty
Leroy and the Ketones. Or the Mighty Mighty Ketones, like the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Yeah.
I want to go with half of Koji's, if that's possible. You know what? I'll go with all the Koji's.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my vote. Yes.
Awesome.
I won't-
Well, Kat, since it doesn't really matter, but we might as well hear your answer.
Oh, you're gonna go with yours?
Yeah, I'm going with
Okay, I
mine.
wasn't sure. Yeah.
Well, actually, I could screw things up and tie it.
No, it's already two.
No, it's already two?
He's gonna vote for his.
voting
Oh, that's
mine.
true. Oh, wait, there's not four of us.
Yes,
Nope.
yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. All right. I'll vote for yours.
It's a clean sweep, kind of.
So just to be clear, Tupac is Japanese,
Right.
and Bruce Lee is
Black.
A black man who faked his own death too.
Yeah. Well, Tupac also faked his death because now
Right.
he's living in Japan.
Right.
With Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
Oh, that would be crazy. We're not going to go that far.
Yeah.
And that's the official story, you guys. We'll take another break, and then when we return, we'll be trying to figure out who we would hurt with the touch of death.
Let's assume the touch of death was real.
Something sarcastic.
Yeah. I see. Okay. Let's assume the touch of death was real.
And not a sex toy.
Right. There you go. Let's assume the touch of death wasn't in your mom's dresser right now. Who would we hurt, but not seriously injure or kill because we aren't monsters? So,
No, we're not
so
monsters.
basically, we're going to gonna have touch of death them. They're just gonna feel a little bit in pain, maybe immobilized for a while.
Maybe have COVID for like a couple days.
Yeah. I like that because I didn't know how to answer
But they would
this.
be okay after.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not
Ultimately.
we're not going to kill people.
I hate that my answer is like so clear to me. My ex-boyfriend's mom.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, you wouldn't kill her.
This
You
is
wouldn't
like
kill
a
her.
senior citizen too. Her an old lady. No, look, just so that she can feel the pain she made me feel by turning him against me.
I like it.
But as long as she got better afterwards and no one could know it was me, she would know it was me because I would have to do the touch of death to her. Unless I hired an assassin.
You could be in her area and just be like, do some chi energy.
Wouldn't it be great if this touch of death could also like force them to have a moment of either clarity or just complete honesty? So like you give it to her, she's a little sick, but also she realizes the error of her ways, and at the very least, if she doesn't do a 180, at least apologizes or gains some sort of empathy.
Yes, a little bit of empathy would be nice. If doing the touch of death would make her feel empathy, that would be great. I would do that.
Well, then mine would be Donald Trump. Although he's kind of getting that now in the jury trial. So right now while I was recording it, they just picked the jury. But it's really funny because they've been reading like all the jurors' tweets and Facebook messages. And it's like they're kind of just roasting him. And he has to sit there and listen to it because I don't know how much you guys know about like what's going on in his life. But he has like an assistant who drives like when he's golfing, has a golf cart behind him with a printer. And every time there's a positive message or a positive article, they print it out and give it to him.
Wow.
And if there's, and then he like literally anything negative in the article, he'll cross out with a Sharpie. So he's like, that's kind of the person he's surrounding himself with, and he's intentionally choosing that. So like to be in the courtroom where people are like literally like one of them that was funny was like they had a picture of Trump and they said like, and then Trump and Obama, and they said, I don't think this is what they meant by the orange is the new black. and they like literally were saying that like in front of his face because he can't. The funny thing is he can't say anything, right? He can't do anything because he's on a court.
What's weird about that is to be a person who maybe is that sensitive, but then also seek the limelight and not understanding that, you know, it comes with that. That's crazy to me.
When you're rich, you can pay to avoid anything.
That's who he is, right? I mean,
You know, like rich people avoid getting grades. Like there's schools that rich people send their kids to that don't have grades at all.
Right.
Yeah. So my thing would be for Donald Trump to get sick for a little while, maybe appreciate some of the crazy things he does, and
So it's a little bit like a Christmas Carol. Like I would like for them
Right.
through the touch of death have a shortened version of that where they have the ghosts of themselves in the future visit.
I would say, other than that guy who had the road rage incident with, and he was 100% wrong, by the way. I don't want to bore you with the details, but trust me, he was. And my touch of death would come with empathy, being sort of immobilized for a little while, some sort of short-term paralysis, but also 2 days of diarrhea.
it sounds like a colonoscopy.
Right. It kind of is, right?
That's what I would do. You have to get a colonoscopy because it's like the worst part of it is the days before it.
Absolutely.
Because when you go in, you just get knocked out, and then you wake
Absolutely.
up and you feel fine.
Absolutely.
Like it's actually the day before that's like terrible. That's when it's like
you can't eat.
you can't eat, but then they're forcing you to drink all
Okay,
this crazy
but do
stuff.
you meet your weight loss goals?
It does help a little bit.
Yeah,
it
but
does help.
but it feels so bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree. I don't have any one particular person, and unfortunately, the person I would have said has passed away.
Oh, man.
I didn't touch or death him. I think anyone, though, who, so there's sort of a theme with me, right? If you listen back to past episodes, anyone who breaks laws that they are charged to uphold. So whatever thing, if you're a firefighter who starts fires would be kind of a simple, but anyone who breaks the very laws that they are tasked with,
like a police officer,
like priests.
or priests, police officers, but also just if you bear false witness at your job, like this Boeing thing, which I haven't followed that closely, but people who sort of
they were like jumping on the equipment,
completely just overlook
Oh my gosh.
make it fit.
overlook things. So anyone who does that, I think like any position that has sort of like answered to anyone, if your org chart is such that you don't answer to anyone.
I would also want to touch of death anybody who has started a social media platform of any
Except
kind.
for Truth Social, because that's an amazing one.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I would agree with that. I think basically is people who don't answer to anyone, someone around them or several people around them should at least be given a touch of death. That way it balances it out. We have like a balance of power We have Congress, Senate, Supreme Court, President. I think people don't have that in regular life. Bankers, there's a few people who they're above the fray, and then when they get their comeuppance, it's only after they've done major damage and it's really hit the fan. So you just need somebody to be able to go pop, 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 pop. 2 days diarrhea. Think about what you did. It's like a penalty box.
I like
you know
that.
what I mean?
It's like a penalty box.
Oh, Andrew Tate. I would give him that touch of death
Well,
real
all those
quick.
incel guys.
Honestly, for me, that one would be one that comes with empathy, but also death, maybe. Thank you guys for being here. I love doing this podcast with you guys.
A lot of fun.
It's nice to do it once in a while with just us
With
three.
just us. Where can we follow each other? Let's just share our socials.
Okay, I'm Dwayne Perkins on Instagram. My name is spelled Dwayne. There's another guy who has my name. He's a different Dwayne, doing different things than me. And, I wish him nothing but the worst. And, so Dwayne Perkins on Instagram and Facebook, Funny DP on Twitter, but I'm mainly on Instagram.
X.
Excuse me. And DwaynePerkins.com is
And
the
what's your true
website.
social handle?
I don't have one.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm trying to short the stock.
You can find me on Instagram at the Cat Alvarado. That's CATALVARADO, and on TikTok at Cat Alvarado Comedy. And that's where you can find me.
Very nice.
I'm K Sakai, SAKAI1 at everywhere, which
Yes.
is not exciting. I should have picked them name.
And Koji and I have a book on Audible. So
Yes.
if you want to listen to a zombie
Yes,
run.
definitely.
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
All right.
Ooh, that's cool. Well, thank you all so much for listening. There are almost 3 million podcasts, and we're honored you've chosen ours. Check out our website, unofficialofficialstory.com, for show notes or to hear past episodes. And follow us on Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube.
In season 4, we'd love to hear from you. Go to our website. You can send us a message by clicking on the Contact Us button, or you can leave a voicemail. Click on the microphone button at the bottom of the page. Tell us what we got right, or tell us what we got wrong. Tell us how you love us. Don't tell us how you hate us. But if we could do something better, we'd love to hear that. Or if there's a topic you think we should cover, or you think you'd make the perfect guest, let us know.
And please consider writing a review of our show on the platform you listen to this podcast. We know it's a pain in the butt, but it does go a long way in helping the show. It helps us reach new listeners, grow our show, and most importantly, it enables us to keep putting out the content that we hope that you enjoy.
Please join us next month where we're asking the question, what really happened to Ronald Doe, who was the inspiration for the movie The Exorcist?
I think the episode's going to be awesome. I'm writing it right now. It's super interesting.
It's exciting,
that kind of
exciting.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most serious thing I think
So-
we've done for a while.
wait. So he was Linda Blair, or he worked with the Linda Blair character?
No. The original Exorcist was based on.
He was the priest.
No, he was the kid.
He was
So
the kid.
originally the kid was a boy. They made it into a girl.
I see.
In the version, there's a lot of
Trans
different.
agenda.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the Hollywood trans agenda. Yeah, exactly. But it was I mean it's a wild story. It's a very crazy story.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to say this because I may forget, but one of my cousin, who I'm still very close to, when he was a kid, he was so bad that I had convinced myself that he was possessed. He probably wouldn't remember this. So bad, meaning so hyper, and every now and then I just look at him and I try to talk to the thing inside of him, not him. and I go, I know you're in there. But I don't know, I don't know if that worked or if he just thought I was crazy or what.
He probably thought you were possessed.
Right.
I'm looking forward to that episode.
I am too. All right, guys.
Bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye.
See you.